Hey everybody, welcome to So with Joe. Today we're going to be talking about destroying cancer with tiny bubbles, and if we have enough time, we're going to talk about being able to go on e-trips with e-cars. E-trips? Road trips with e-cars. And yeah, so project today is continuing on the patch on my jeans, and yeah, we'll get right into that. And sound pulses destroying liver tumors. And when I said tiny bubbles, we'll get to that in a second, and it's actually a sound-based therapy. It's very interesting. So for really bad liver tumors, usually what you'd have to go do is cut the patient open, cut the tumor out, called an ablation. Just get everything out of there as much as you can, and hope that it goes away. So massive trauma to the area, high risk of redeveloping cancer in the area, that sort of thing. Now with this new therapy, what it does is sound waves actually break down the cancer cells. And when I say tiny bubbles do it, it actually, the sound waves cause what they call cavitation. Cavitation is what happens when liquid is under pressure. So the sound causes a pressure which causes cavitation, which results in tiny bubbles being created very rapidly and then dissolving very rapidly. So inside the tumor cell, suddenly bubbles are created, so it actually like explodes the cancer, and then the bubbles disappear and the cancer cells break up and are absorbed by the body. So, or absorbed, expelled, I'm not sure. So a very interesting, non-invasive, 100% non-invasive surgery that right now it's in the rat testing stage, so not on human testing yet. Cheers. So probably a few years from being available mainstream. So what it basically is high amplitude. So your sound waves are a very loud sound wave, a high amplitude loud sound wave, but in microsecond length pulses. So you have a sound that is just released for not even really an audible moment, and probably at frequencies that we wouldn't find audible, and very high amplitude, and it causes cavitation, causes those bubbles to form in very, very specific locations. They say to the millimeter they can eradicate tumors. And these are actually ultrasonic pulses, so very, very high frequency, high amplitude, very brief loud noises shot directly into your tumor, and it just breaks them up. And I think it's amazing what you can do with sound pressure and waves. Waves that we can't see, waves that we can only measure and calculate and theorize on. And it's very, how can I say this? Very damaging. Like when you think of cavitation from a different perspective, the way that I'm familiar with cavitation is in hydroelectric generating dams. And what happens in the hydroelectric generating dams is, as the water is passing through the turbines, there is an incredible amount of pressure happening there due to the design of everything, and those units are pushing 144,000 horsepower each, and so there's an incredible amount of pressure, a lot of force, and that results in cavitation of the water when it's hitting the turbine blades. So these massive 40+ foot turbine blades are having these tiny explosions when they cut contact, and the water is contacting them, and then they're pressurized, and then these bubbles form, and that causes explosions, and that actually eats away at the steel of these turbine blades. And what you have to do to fight this cavitation, because it causes pitting, it causes erosion of the blades, you actually have to get people in there. So you have to shut off the power, drain all the water, get all your people in, all your safety equipment, ventilate everything, and get welders and grinders in there, and they weld new metal in where the cavitation has removed metal, and then they have to grind it down smooth so that it's a good surface for water to flow past. So it's an absolutely massive amount of work, and that's I believe done annually. Well, sorry, no, not annually. I think that's an every 5-year thing, 5 or 12. But it's an incredible amount of work. It does restore some efficiency to your turbine blades, but just massive amounts of work. And yeah, depending on your maintenance schedule, it can be pretty crazy. And if that's hard to imagine, just imagine how voices can break glass. It's not exactly the same, but it is high amplitude, high frequency noise that causes vibrations, which causes something to shatter. It doesn't cause cavitation, but it causes the actual vibrations, cause a frequency, a harmonic in the glass that makes it shatter, build up to the point that it can't hold anymore and just explodes. So similar to that, but more similar to cavitation that you find in hydroelectric dams like that. So I think that's a really encouraging story. And they say when their accuracy is down to the millimeter, they I'm assuming would stop before they would destroy any healthy tissue. They were saying that any remaining tumor matter there was the body was able to fight it off. The rat bodies, anyways, were able to fight it off once they were more healthy and had less cancer in them. Then they were able to fight off the remaining little bits of cancer, and their rate of recurrence of cancer was very, very low after using this procedure. So, cheers. Very, very encouraging news, and I'm making a big assumption here, but I'm assuming that if you can do that in the liver, you can do that in other organs as well. So non-invasive cancer removal treatments using sound waves. And no, I'm not saying you can just go down and blast Skinnerd and be cured. It might elevate your mood, unless you don't like Skinnerd, then there's no real point at all. So yeah, just music therapy, not just for hippies anymore. The scientists are getting into it, and not really music therapy, but sound cavitational therapy. So this patch is coming along nicely. Use some stretch material so that there will be a little bit of movement. It might not tear right away again. Using a blanket stitch to grab a hold of a whole bunch of material, and hopefully that'll make it last a while. This thread, if I can. Yeah, till next time, thanks very much for joining me. I do really appreciate the time we get to spend together. And yeah, keep chilling. Don't forget your cookie. Peace.